situation is and what's going on in your community. How'd you get elected, sir? Be ye ready. Hello, Savannah, and welcome to another edition of Kandily Kesha. I am coming from you live remote from Hutchinson Allen, the Savannah Convention Center, and I am at the Georgia Municipal Association annual conference that's hosted every June here in Savannah. We're so excited that each year we get to rub shoulders with individuals who do exactly what we do in their respective communities. We have cities across Georgia from all sizes, with all myriad of issues, opportunities, and successes. And so as we embrace an opportunity to connect and meet with individuals who have been a part of GMA for several years, we also recognize those who are newly elected officials. Most importantly is an opportunity for us as elected officials on your taxpayer dollars is an opportunity to rub our heads against presentations from presenters. Unfortunately, I must start out in saying that my first day of the conference was interrupted by an officer-involved shooting here in Savannah. As a leader, I am inclined to acknowledge that we are in crisis mode in Savannah. To date, we have had far too many officer-involved shootings. Our total is 8, not including the one committed by GBI. So what we see are issues related to not just a policing issue, because before I go in, what I want to say is that at 2 o'clock in the morning, if we hear a bump in the night, we're going to call the police. But what I also want to say is that I am most concerned to date about the family who has lost a loved one to an officer-involved shooting. How do you balance it as a leader? The way you balance it as a leader is to make sure we're taking care of vulnerable communities, but that we are also investing in our police community, making sure that we have a ready, prepared, and dedicated workforce, responding to issues related to community policing, where diversity matters, where sensitivity matters, and where cultural issues matter. Unless and until you have a leader who is able to address those huge issues and respond and have those courageous conversations, we are not truly working to solve the most pressing issue facing our community, and that is gun violence. Just one day later, we had 4 individuals shot in our city. Savannah has a beautiful backdrop of oak trees and Spanish moss. It is no place for the rising crime and gun violence that we have experienced to date. And so if we as council members who you elected and sent to City Hall to represent you under the Gold Dome, if we are prohibited by our city manager, by our mayor, and by our city attorney to go into executive session and respond to the issues related to what our police officers have presented to us, we will never solve the problem. That's my take on the pressing issue against this city right now. I also want to acknowledge that we are still in a housing crisis. Right now, we have growth and development happening from the corridors of this convention center all the way to Midtown to the South Side. And it doesn't involve the very people who were born here and who live here. This isn't just merely about gentrification. This is about the working class citizens of Savannah. We want to keep a Savannah who is rich in her culture. We want to keep a Savannah who embraces diversity. We need our citizens to mobilize, to rise up, and make your concerns and issues known, your voice known where these issues are concerned. Now, I have met so many wonderful people who are here with me today. So without further ado, I'm going to just cherry pick a handful of them and have them come up and tell us who they are, where they're from, their city population, what's going on, how are they spending their opera dollars. Because guess what, y'all? We found out in a session of the opera presentation that maximizing opera relief funds to improve our city's quality of life is consistent with what your alderwoman at large has been advocating to do. And so we found out from one community where they actually dedicated a large percentage of their resources to their revenue department to retire overdue water bills of her citizens. No, they didn't cherry pick nonprofits who would subsequently work on a political figure's campaign. They directly devoted those resources to water bills of her citizens. I want you to also know that I have addressed the issues related to the $50 late fee and the changing of our billing cycle. We'll come to you with more than that. But without further ado, listen, who do we have here? Come on, Miss Lisa. From St. Mary's. I met Lisa. Where did we first meet? We met
training. I think it was the revenue training.
The last one in Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yes. So tell us, what are you doing in St. Mary's, and what's exciting? What's going on? What is your position on council? How long have you been on council?
Okay, so St. Mary's is an hour and 45 minutes south of here, right on off of 95. We're on the Georgia-Florida line. We have around 18,600 citizens. I have been on council for 1 year and 6 months. So that's relatively new in our world. Right now, in addition to being a council member, I'm also our mayor pro tem, which means that in the event of the mayor not being able to be at a meeting or attend, I actually fill in his spot. So St. Mary's right now is a growing city. We're on the coast, so we have a lot of people coming from out of town. But my focus has always been, and the reason I ran was so that we could actually support our citizens that live and work, in St. Mary's. So you mentioned ARPA funds, so we're really excited. First of all,
and we want to say ARPA is American Relief Rescue Protection Act.
American Rescue Plan Act. And so what that is essentially it's just funding that typically we would have to apply for through grants and compete with other cities. But the funds were given directly to the cities to be able to impact our citizens. So some of the things that we've done with it that directly impact our citizens, one of the first things we did was we partnered with our county government, who also received funds, and we put the funding into our local transit. So we don't have a public transportation system there because we're a smaller city, but there's a coastal regional commission had some coaches that citizens could call up and they could go on a round trip, and it cost about $6. So our contribution there is enabling us for an entire year for our citizens to be able to call in and schedule a ride, whether they're going to work, to the doctor. It doesn't matter what their social economic position is, but of course we want that to be helping those citizens that can least afford those rides. And senior citizens, it helps them to get to doctors. So that's one of the things that we've done. Another thing that we've done is we have allocated funds to our Salvation Army. So actually the funds aren't going to the Salvation Army, but the Salvation Army is partnering with us to help with some of our citizens that were having trouble meeting, like their monthly obligations, rent, utilities, anything that was keeping them from managing their household during COVID and beyond. And so we also have a program where we're, and these are all grants, so we have a program that can provide up to $2,000 to our small business owners that may also have struggled. So that's just a couple of things that we're doing, and we also have, we're talking now about trying to partner with our local public service authority so that we can provide some dollars for some of our youth to go to camp.
That's awesome.
So that's what we're doing so far.
And so you have been on council for how many years?
1 year and 6 months.
1 year and 6 months. And tell me a little bit about your legislative process. If you had an issue or a desire for an ordinance or a policy, what is the process of you presenting that and subsequently getting it passed? What does that entail on your council?
Well, essentially what we would do is we would just, we would add it to our agenda, and then the person that was adding the item would go ahead and kind of talk about what the item is, what the implications were, and why we're adding it, and then we would have some discussion, and then hopefully I'd be able to convince or influence them to vote in favor of that particular item.
And so it just takes you, one councilman, to do.
That's exactly right.
Wow, Savannah. Wow, Savannah.
It's collaboration. It really is.
It takes collaboration,
yes.
But it just takes just you as a single first council member to just present it before your colleagues, have a discussion.
Yes.
So it doesn't take a majority. It doesn't take 5 people.
No, I mean, we can bring anything out. It doesn't mean that it's always going to get through, but
right. But at least you get an opportunity to see the light of day, so that your constituents will see exactly what it is that you're advocating for.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure seeing you again.
You're welcome.
You know, the beauty of these conferences is that we get to reconnect with individuals who we only see once or twice a year.
Absolutely.
And again, this is heavy lifting. This is hard work. Not H-A-R-D, but H-E-A-R-T. And in the midst of doing the hard work, it's pleasing to see that you have someone on another part of the state doing exactly what you're doing to let you know that it's all worth it.
Oh yes, keep doing it and vote, because that's really where it really matters, is vote for those that are helping to advocate for what you believe in.
Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
So listen, and speaking of voting, we know that we are coming off of a tough week, and as I said before, I won't compare it to the officer-involved shooting, but we do know the decision that was handed down with regard to Roe v. Wade. In my opinion, it is a major setback in our community when we see that our basic rights as human beings are jeopardized. We see that those injustices there are injustices everywhere. And so for me, as an advocate for victims of rape and child molestation, as a woman, as an African American who, when giving birth to a child because of the lack of equitable health care, one foot is on a banana peel and one is on a slippery slide, we know the importance of being able to take our health care in our own hands. And so we don't want to relegate this issue to sensationalism when people talk about killing babies. I have 3 children. I have never been faced with the decision to have an abortion, and I don't want to be faced with the decision to tell another woman what to do with her body. And so with that said, we must mobilize and vote. We must mobilize and allow our voices to be heard. I do recognize that a lot of times as elected servants of our community, people get mixed views in terms of what they should do and how they should do it. Because when it comes to motivating the electorate, we have to look at what has demotivated them. And what has demotivated them is the fact that we send elected officials, we send people who campaign as elected servants, but in short order they become elected officials to the extent that they forget who they are, who they're fighting for, and what they are advocating for. And they sell out to the establishment, big business, under the table and over the table payouts, rides in private jets, fancy cars in addition to your houses. And for those of us who are staying the course, we are asking you, our electorate, to stay with us. Rodney, we have Rodney from the city of Gordon coming to us next to just tell us who he is and what he does. Rodney is a council member. Tell us about the city of Gordon. I've never been there. Where is it?
Well, it's like 20 miles east of Macon, Georgia, and it's a population like 25 to 30,000 people. And I serve as a city councilman. I also own my own truck event.
Okay.
So just
and how long have you been on council?
We're going on 2 years now.
Grab him, Jay. Grab one of them. Listen, so what are some things that you've done with your ARPA funds?
Well, not nothing yet, but we're looking into
So is it collecting interest? Is your city bank collecting interest?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to take care of your people?
Of course. That's what it's for.
So, Rodney, tell me, if you were to have interest of your constituents, if you were to have a policy idea, ordinance, or issue that you wanted to present before council by way of legislation, what does it take for you to present something to your council for consideration for a vote? How does that process work?
Well, first I would get the plan together first, and I present it to the mayor first, and let her overlook it. But it don't take a rocket science to do it. You know, we all trying to.
Oh my God! It doesn't take a rocket science.
It does.
Scientist. It just takes you, Rodney.
Well, me and the board. You know, I can't do it all by myself.
Right.
But,
so does it take a majority, or do you have to have a certain number of your council members to present? 4. Yeah. And what is a majority vote?
Majority vote is 3. Well, it got to have 4 for it to pass.
4 for it to pass, but you just have to have the consensus of 3 people? Oh my God, Savannah. What can we do with Alicia, Kesha, and Bernetta? Oh my gosh. Thank you, Rodney. Listen, thank you so much. We appreciate you stopping by and blessings for a safe stay here at the GMA.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come here. Listen. We have Cleveland.
Yes, ma'am. How are you doing?
From
Montezuma, Georgia.
Montezuma, that's right up the street from my college, Fort Valley State.
Really? Yes, absolutely.
I graduated from Fort Valley State in 1995.
You're still young.
Yes, and so the McDonald's is a big family in Montezuma.
Yes, right on.
Yes. So listen, I am doing a live Facebook show that I do every Monday to connect with our constituency here in Savannah. I serve in the at-large post, 1 for the city of Savannah.
Okay.
And I want to just know, what are some things going on in Montezuma? What's good about Montezuma? And
what's good about Montezuma?
What do you do on council?
Well, I think what's good in Montezuma, we actually have a really good council.
Okay.
And we're trying to go, we're not just looking for what's going on today. We're looking for 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years. We're trying to get, so when we're gone, the council members coming on, the mayor, whoever's coming on.
And just follow the modes.
Exactly. So we're trying to set the groundwork so that the continue to grow and be profitable and bring trade and industry to Montezuma. You get trade and industry there, now if it goes up, schools go up, it's going to change it.
And tell me this, you said working together. Who helps guide you all working together? What
I would say I'm mayor. We had, it was, Larry Smith was the mayor, now we have Andy Johnson. And so it's just been one of those transitions where they have the same
leadership style.
Same leadership style.
So tell me about your legislative process. If there was an ordinance or an issue facing your community and citizens wanted something, or you wanted to present some ordinance for consideration to go into law, what does that process look like? How many council members do you have?
We have a total of 7.
6. Okay, and so what does the process look like to get legislation presented?
Basically, we just bring it before the board. We just bring it. If someone has something.
So if you, as one council member, had a burning desire or interest, you just present it to your board?
That's correct. We'd have a meeting.
Are you kidding, Savannah?
We'd just say, hey, here's what we'd like to do. Let's discuss it. And we have like a little round table. Here's what we would like to do. Most of the time, we can come to an agreement before we go vote.
Wow.
So it's usually pretty quick.
So your community is very progressive.
Yes.
And you're getting a lot of things done.
Yes.
Awesome.
If things happen, you need to. Sometimes some things are restored just because of legality for it.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot
just to work out the kinks.
That's correct. Mm-hmm. For the most part, if someone comes in
and that's why we pay a city attorney the big bucks, right?
That is correct.
And the city manager the big bucks, right?
That's what they're supposed to do.
Right. Well, listen, it has been a pleasure connecting with you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And you're going in the opposite direction. Are you retreating for tonight?
We're retreating for tonight.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for stopping by. Listen. Come on. So listen, we had another session, excellence in policing. We were able to connect with a group talking about the ARPA funds, and we also, Mr. Glenn,
I'll tell you like in a minute.
Mr. Glenn, wait a minute. This is a tongue twister from the city of Willacoochee. Willacoochee. I've never. Lashingo, come on, Willacoochee. I have never heard of Willacoochee.
You ever said entertainer say you from Willacoochee? Said the entertainer?
Said the entertainer is from Willacoochee?
Have you ever heard him say that?
No, I have not.
Anybody else say it?
She has.
Okay,
this millennial has.
You heard it, didn't you? Thank you, baby.
Yes. So the city of Willacoochee is where?
Between Waycross and Tifton, Georgia, on the Z, 520-82.
Okay. So said the entertainer is from Willacoochee, and you are a council member in Willacoochee. And what is the population of Willacoochee? Is the population longer than Willacoochee?
Well, the population is. Our motto is where good people live.
How many good people do you have in Willacoochee? Don't count the bad people. How many good people?
All of them good. Every one of them. We ain't got no bad people in Willacoochee. Everybody good. You asked me? I just told you. We got.
Said the entertainer. It's a thing. Okay, so tell me this. What did you do with your ARPA funds? What did you do with, Joe Biden released?
Let me get you there in a few minutes. I need to tell you about used to be our mayor with Lace Futch. He just died probably we buried him last Saturday.
Oh, God bless.
He was the first, I don't know what president was in GMA, but he used to work for the governor too.
Oh, wow.
Little town called Willacoochee, Georgia. That's what I'm talking about. Population about 1,500.
Okay. God bless. Did you just say get yourself some?
That's right. Willacoochee, Georgia. That's where it's at. Come when it come on.
Okay, so how long have you been a council member?
I've been a council member about 27 years.
Okay, and y'all don't have term limits?
Yes, we do.
Are y'all getting, what's your term limit?
Every year you win. Why you She asked, I told you. Hey, you come on back here. You got me doing this. Hey.
Okay, so tell me this. If you have a pressing issue or an area of interest that you want to get presented to have your council consider for legislation or to adopt something as an ordinance, what does that process include? Well, how do you present an item for consideration for adoption?
What we want to do is consider the needs of the people that's around you first. It would be housing, or it would be roads and bridges.
So you listen to the voice of the people.
Voice of the people got to be the one.
And how do you present that to your council for consideration?
Through verbal communication.
So you go in as Glenn Bailey and say, listen, guys, I have a group of concerned citizens who want sidewalks paved on their street. I have a group of concerned citizens who are concerned about speeding in their neighborhood, crime, the housing crises. You put together a plan, you present it, and then you just vote on it?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Of course.
Wow, I'm moving to Willacoochee.
Yeah, what you let me do?
Willacoochee. I'm moving to Willacoochee.
Yeah, we voted. If we got the money to do it, but, if we got
political will.
Yeah, if we got the money to do it, yeah, we'll do it. I mean, if we ain't got the money, we can't do it.
Wow.
I mean, we try to get a grant.
Come here, Lee.
We try to get a grant, something like that.
Well, thank you so much, Glenn. I really appreciate you.
That's good.
Thank
Appreciate it.
Listen, y'all, those were Lee's kids y'all heard.
Yeah, they're getting wild.
Lee is a council member from the city of Waleska.
That's right.
Waleska. Where is Waleska, Lee?
That is 50 miles north of Atlanta.
50 miles. And what's your population size about?
Right about 1,000.
So, Lee, tell me, what was your motivation for running for public office, and how long have you been in office?
My motivation for running for public office was just to, do anything I could to help my small city, get anything to help them, whether it's water, sewage, hopefully one day, trash, anything like that. And this is my third year in public office.
And how many people do you have on your council?
We have 6 council members and 1 mayor.
So your mayor is not a voting member, he's a tiebreaker.
No. Yes,
okay, so when it comes to introducing legislation or if getting things done for your constituents, as you acknowledge, or engaging their desires and interests. How do you present that legislation for consideration and ultimately passes? Like, what does it take for you as this one council member? What does that rule? What does it take?
Well, for us, we would have, usually it's because we're such a small city, you know most of the people that are in our city, so those people will come to you on a personal level. They'll bring to you their ideas or their concerns or anything they may want. You'll bring it to the council. And then we either research it through our attorney or our engineer or anything like that and try to do the best we can on that level. If it requires extra funding that we may not have, we then will go out and look at those.
And so you, as a single council member, can go to your colleagues and say, this interests me, and present it, and you give consideration to it, and then it's in the budget it happens.
For the most part, if we can make it work. We're such a small city that we have a lot of intergovernmental agreements with our county that a lot of things that we focus on is just water, trying to get water to our customers. So ours is mostly expansion of our water system.
Clarkston.
So we just try to do more of an expansion for our water system more than anything. Because
that's your biggest need.
Right, because we have all of our
I live Willacoochee. I'm moving to Waleska.
Well, come on, we'll accept you. Thank you.
I appreciate you stopping by, and we are so grateful for you all visiting Savannah. And I hope that there's something from GMA you can take back to your community and share with your constituents to make your community better.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Listen, we have Mr. Thomas Barbie, not Darby, but Barbie with the B. Mr. Barbie, listen, he is Mayor Pro Tem of the fastest growing city in Georgia. No longer cooler. Where's cooler? It's still not going to be better than cooler till y'all get a TJ Maxx and a Ross.
Yes, we are working on some of those quality of life issues for our citizens.
Listen, Mayor Pro Tem, you all have been through a lot, but you stayed the course. You were committed to the cause, and you stood up, you spoke out, and you took a stand for the citizens of Savannah. You were unbothered, unbossed, and unbought. And here you are today as Mayor Pro Tem on the precipice of some breaking opportunities for Port Wentworth. Tell us some of the exciting things that you have planned and what's going on in Port Wentworth.
Well, it's always exciting when you're dealing with people. You have a lot of good, bad, and ugly, but I enjoy it all. Currently, what we're working on right now is improve the quality of life for our citizens. We're working on 3 separate sport complexes. The first one is going to be on the backside of Newport subdivision. We purchased 57 acres of land. We're going to build a new sports complex.
Oh, wow.
We're also going to build.
So you're going to keep trying to take out people from Savannah? You're going to keep trying to take out people from Savannah?
No, we're not trying to take them. We're just trying to improve the quality of life for the
citizens. Don't y'all go nowhere. Don't go nowhere.
Our second one is we're building a gymnasium right behind our only one food line. A huge gymnasium where we want to put a racquetball court, a sauna, some basketball courts, and a walking trail around the top.
Awesome.
The other part is we're going to take Adele Steele Park and we're going to revamp it. We're going to put some more swings in for the kids. We're going to put in a fenced-in basketball court that we can open from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m.
Oh, wow.
So that way people won't be complaining about 3 hours of the night basketball bouncing. It's going to be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Wow. So you all are focusing on a lot of quality of life for your residents.
Yes. And we also partnership with a company that specializes in catering restaurants to the city.
Oh, wow.
That's what we're looking at. But really, this administration, this new administration that I'm on right now, and as you know, the first time in history that people of color that's in charge. For 65 years, it's been none of those people that was in charge. Because of January 2022, for the first time, people of color in charge. And we saw and see that our citizens' quality of life need to be improved.
All citizens.
Yes, all citizens, exactly. And that is what that's what we're focused on.
Awesome. So with all of that work that you've done, and moving those initiatives forward, it takes the vote of your entire council.
Yes.
So tell me this, how was it that you presented these pieces of legislations, these ordinances, these policies, these opportunities for your constituency who you essentially are going off of their desires? How do you present their interest to council and ultimately, subsequently have that voted into law where you actually are putting dollars behind it?
Exactly. What's the first thing that I do is I call it boots on ground campaign. I get out, I pick up trash throughout the city of Portland every day, and I get out and I talk to people. I see them over to the side of someone going to pick up some cans or trash or whatever might be there. I ask them, what can we do to improve our city? Or if we're doing a good job, what do we do to better that situation? What are some of your ideas? And once I get their ideas and they're buying on some things, then that's when I bring it back to the council. And I talk to all my colleagues.
So you as one person get
yes.
to do that?
Oh yeah, I do it all the time. I have free time.
Does it take a consensus to get it on the table? Or
yes.
Can you a consensus of how many?
Oh, no. It doesn't take consensus.
Oh, Eartha. We got to talk to Eartha. We got to talk to Eartha.
We changed our council procedure. One person, one council member could put anything on the agenda.
One council member puts anything.
One council person could put anything.
Okay, now I'm moving to Port Wentworth because it's a closer commute.
No more 4 people or 3 people or 2 people or the mayor.
Wow.
One council person could put
wow,
whatever they
Savannah.
want on the agenda.
Wow, Savannah. Listen, thank you so much. We appreciate what
Thank
you're doing on that side of the state. We appreciate your leadership, and we are encouraged by your tenacity and your willingness to stand up and speak out. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I want to say one more thing. You already have my vote.
Thank you so much.
Anybody that knows me.
Thank you so much.
Encouraged.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you, sir.
All right.
This is Demario from the city of Cairo. So it's not like the Cairo, it's Cairo. Not Egypt, Cairo in Georgia. Listen, tell us, what is your population in Cairo?
We're about a little bit over 2,000.
2,000? 10,000. Okay, and what's your role on council? You are a council member?
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm the mayor pro tem.
Mayor pro tem. And how many years have you been in office?
This is my second term.
Your second term. So tell me this. What are some of the things that you've done with your ARPA funds?
And honestly, what we did, we need to do sewer and water in the lower income areas. So we use most of that right there for the first one. Which we could have done more with businesses and empowering other leaders.
What's your population?
Ethnic.
And how many people in your city?
A little bit over 2,000.
Okay, so you said that earlier. So you probably didn't get a whole bunch in comparison to what we got in Savannah.
Like 2.3 million.
2.3 million. So it's not a whole bunch to do. So what are you most looking forward to for the remainder of your term?
Interested in I got to do a lot of things, getting the parks redone. We don't have a lot of sidewalks, trying to get some sidewalks put in districts and areas. Hopefully build our downtown. We have downtown that's trying to thrive a little bit. So those are my areas.
Okay, so with any of those interests, if there was one pressing piece that you wanted to present to your council, get on the table on the agenda to have consideration for legislation, what would it take? What is that process between you and your council members? What does that involve?
I guess one area I would want to do is probably I do the sidewalks for the safety.
And how many people would it take to get that on the agenda?
What it would take is one to get it on there, but it take
just one?
Yeah.
Savannah. One. Okay, now I'm moving to Cairo in Georgia. Listen, thank you so much. We appreciate you stopping by, and we hope that you enjoy the remainder of Savannah. Spend a little bit of money here.
Yes, ma'am.
Learn about it GMA.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
They got a award today, so I want to know.
Oh, awesome. Oh, wait.
Hello. How are you?
How are you? Listen, these are council members from Clarkston, Georgia, where my dear friend, Mayor Burke, is the first African-American female mayor of that city, and your population is 12,000. And how much did you all receive in ARPA funds?
We got about plus $2.9 million.
$2.9 million. So that's not a whole bunch of money to do a lot with. But what did you do with the money?
Well, we've been doing a lot. pretty much we try to.
I know you help some businesses,
Yeah,
some
rental
local businesses,
assistance,
rental assistance,
mortgage assistance, utility payment assistance.
and that's about all of it, right?
Well, I'm fortunate. Well, I've been rolling out food drive, food distribution. Every quarter, every 3 months, I'll just give food away, fresh produce and a meat. Since we're a refugee community, we do allow chicken. And I also, with the help of council, approved a weatherization program back in May, where we would.
I love the sustainability.
Oh yes, ma'am. What we wanted was to give our residents an opportunity to make some repairs that they weren't able to make because they were having to save their money, not knowing what our economy was going to do. So we didn't have to have a hardship. You just had to be a certain age with a certain number of kids. And it's only $5,000, but it'll get you some gutters, some
that's
doors,
a lot of money.
some windows. So yeah,
And so with that sustainability piece, I know Mayor Burks to be a very fair, level-headed, and very self-assured person. What does the process entail when you have an interest in the sustainability initiative, or you had an interest in presenting legislation? How many council members do you have? Six. Like, what would that process be to presenting that initiative, that opportunity, that legislation to council for consideration and ultimately passing? Like, what does that look like? What would you have to do as a council person to get that to see the light of day?
Yeah, so usually we would start as an idea. It's a one or two council members working together, put it on the agenda. A lot of times we have committees. We use the committee system, and
You have committees.
yeah, and we present it to the committee, and each committee that gives a chance for public comments and trying to make the idea better.
You give consideration, particularly you give consideration to if your budget allows for it. But the beauty is your constituents actually get to hear out loud and see out loud what you as council people are actually advocating for.
and comment and suggest all of that. We take
So
it to
your
the
community
first.
is essentially a citizen led.
Correct.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh, now I'm moving to Clarkston, y'all. Oh.
Please, bring it
Mayor
on.
Burks
Thank
would
you.
love to
I
have
know,
you.
and she's my soror, y'all. I love her.
Oh, yes.
You're like, oh, those sorority girls again.
No, you did good. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Listen, we appreciate you all for stopping by. Enjoy the remainder of the conference. I hope you have enjoyed my city, and I hope you spent more than your per diem.
Yes.
Listen, and please enjoy the remainder of the conference, and I look forward to seeing you at sessions to come.
Yes,
Absolutely.
thank you
Yes.
so much
Be here
for having
definitely.
us.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you again.
Yes. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Eartha. Listen, this lady was a presenter today, and I had the nerve to hold her up for another interview. I just snagged her. But y'all, I went into her session today. Look, Eartha, I have your document right here because that's just how much I got from that session. I was so encouraged. And real briefly, because I know you're tired, you've been working all day, and it's late, but I just want you to tell citizens about what your community has done with ARPA funds, but just tell us a little bit about your community and how your citizens have benefited from those dollars.
Okay. Again, like I stated before in the class, we were excited to be able to receive those ARPA funds, and they came in a much needed time because we was up on our consent order. So we used some of the funds to help us with some infrastructure, and that is like completing to get some cutoff valves, fire hydrants, and we also won. We wrote and we got some state local funds to get a new wastewater treatment plant. But with that, we also looked at some of the other, we tried to spread our ARPA funds around because we are a small city.
What's the population?
We're approximately about 2,000.
Okay.
So we want to look at different ways of where we can make an impact with our citizens in different ways with the fund. But we do know, like I stated before, our most important needs was infrastructure. But we also knew that our citizens had some needs as well. And so we had some that was affected by COVID and was not able to pay their their utility bills due to not being able to go to work or being.
This is why I really slammed you.
Okay.
Because guess what, y'all? They didn't rely on nonprofits to take applications and to fill phone calls. They simply applied their opera dollars to retire outstanding bills that were on the books.
So we were able to, like those that had been in the hospital, and once we put a freeze on cutoff. We did not charge any late fees.
No late fees.
And so, because again, that was going to affect them, and it was going to continue to be in the hole. And if it was already not being able to go to work, didn't have any income to come in, that was not going to help them. And when we had these funds was able to help not only them, but it helped the city as well. You know, because then that would have been funds that we probably would have never been able to collect otherwise. And so we looked at that. We looked at different areas of the city where we can make the most impact as far as saying, okay, hey, low income neighborhoods, we're looking at where we can help to clean up that and to put some funds there, as well as help our downtown businesses. So we try to touch all of the areas a little bit and spread out.
Well, for the listeners, I want to thank you for your leadership. And you are the mayor of your city. And how many council members do you have? Six. And so you are a tiebreaker.
Yes.
You're not a voting member. And so if one of your council members was interested in presenting an opportunity, an ordinance, or having legislation introduced and adopted as law, what does that process entail for you as mayor? Like, what would your council members do?
Well, basically, we have some things on our council, but right now we talk everything out, we work everything out, we listen, and we look for. First of all, let me say this.
Like, what's the rule? What's the rule of law?
The rule of law is you're always going to go by the charter.
Okay.
Whatever that states. And if it's something that do comes up, they're going to come and they're going to present it to me. Then we're going to look at the entire process. Then I'm going to make sure that I talk with our city attorney.
Yes.
And then we're going to look at whether or not we need to bring that to us.
And then you make sure you have the money to pay for it.
Yes.
But does it just take one council member to come to you or to present to the city attorney or the city?
They're going to bring it to. They're going to bring it to me.
Bring it to you and say, "This is what we want." So it doesn't take a voting majority to present something to you.
No.
Okay. Now I'm moving to Tania. Because we'll get some stuff done.
Yes.
Listen, Martha, thank you for what you are doing on that part of the state. I just bless God for association bringing about assimilation. And this is my sorrow to y'all. Thank you all. Have a blessed evening. Who's next? Nobody? Okay, so Alderman Blakely is going to abandon my show tonight, but whenever she asks me to come on her show, I go on her show and I give her a show.
Excuse me, y'all. I'm not abandoning. I'm helping orchestrate everything over here.
The producer said I had to wrap it up. But the audience was having a good time tonight, right? Yes. So listen, y'all. As you can see, across the state, we have a phenomenal state that we live in. I want you to know that Savannah is special because Savannah generates the most money for Georgia, only second to Atlanta. And where we are on this convention center, more money, more taxpayer dollars are pumped into this area than in all of the city of Savannah. And so what we need you to do is to mobilize. We need you to let your voices be heard. Stand up, speak up, and speak out. We can't do it without you. I am simply one voice and one vote. But pretty soon that will all be changing. Listen, this is Kesha Gibson Carter, your Alderwoman at Large for Post 1. You wanted to say? Okay, your Alderwoman at Large for Post 1 of the City of Savannah. We're so grateful to you all. As always, I love you, Savannah.